Hey Ravens fans, we are here at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, and today we had a chance to hear from General Manager Eric DeCosta and Head Coach John Harbaugh. Here were the big takeaways that I had after listening to them. First and foremost, let's start with Justin Madubuike. He's a big-time free agent for the Ravens, and DeCosta said that he and Madubuike's representatives have already begun conversations working towards a long-term contract extension. That is the focus and the priority for these two sides. The Ravens would love to get a long-term deal done with Madubuike. However, if that doesn't happen before the new league year opens, DeCosta said that he will most likely use the franchise tag on Madubuike to keep him from ultimately hitting the open market. Another big talking point for the Ravens is the offensive line. That is a priority for this team, and there's some big question marks on that front. Both guards are pending free agents. There's questions at the tackle position. There's Ronnie Stanley and Morgan Moses, both dealt with injuries last year. The Ravens plan to invest in the offensive line this offseason through free agency, through the draft, which is a really deep class. But there's going to be changes coming to this offensive line, and both DeCosta and Harbaugh talked about that today.
We'll continue to build that out. Obviously, this year we're going to have probably some change on the offensive line in different ways. Remains to be seen exactly what that looks like. We will have a plan. Fortunately, this is a deep draft class as well. So we'll have a lot of different options in different rounds for players that we like at the offensive line position, at tackle and also guard. Probably unlikely that we're going to draft a center very high, but I think there's a lot of depth along the way, specifically at the tackle position and the guard position. So that's exciting. It really helps me as we look at what that offensive line is going to look like.
The offensive line is where it starts. We talked about that in 2008. It's been true forever. You know, you win in the trenches first, right? So we think that we're offensive line centric in our philosophy, and we've got some question marks in our offensive line. So there's going to be some rebuilding that's going to have to be done in there, and we're getting to it already. It's going to be really probably the most important thing we do on offense.
And then another position of interest is the running back position. The Ravens also have questions there. They've got two free agents in Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Keaton Mitchell is coming off an injury. Now, I thought it was interesting that DeCosta said maybe there's a chance that Edwards or maybe even J.K. could both be back this year. But the Ravens do also plan to add to the running back position, again, whether that's through free agency or through the draft. And then lastly, the Ravens found out, as well as everybody else in the NFL last week, that the salary cap for this upcoming season took a big jump. It's going to be $255 million. So that gives DeCosta some money to play with. How will that impact the team's approach in free agency this year? They are not going to have a ton of money to go crazy and spend like crazy, DeCosta said. They're going to have to be limited, but it is a good sign for them to have a little bit more money to play with this year and for the upcoming seasons as well. So don't expect a spending spree in free agency, but the Ravens could have the money to make some targeted signings if they can get the right player at the right price. Now, if you want to check out the full press conferences from Eric and Harbaugh earlier today, you can watch those on our app, our website, and our YouTube channel as well. There's going to be a lot more coming from here in Indianapolis, so stay tuned for a busy week ahead of us.